Ours are short people. Sound asleep until about 10 minutes ago. What's that? Oh, we're sound asleep.
Anytime.
Call the meeting to order. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Kozak?
Here.
Trustee Conley? Here. Trustee Sullivan?
Present.
Trustee Dunham?
Here.
Trustee Madej?
Present.
Trustee Daly?
Present.
President Larson?
Here. All present accounted for. At this time, I'd introduce Cub Scout Pack 297, who are here to post the colors and listen to the Pledge of Allegiance.
Color guard attack. Audience, please rise. Scout salute. Those are in uniform, place your right hand over your heart. Color guard uniform march. Color guard heart. Color guard cross the colors. Please recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, for liberty and justice for all. 2. Scout sign. Please join us in Scout Oath. On my honor, I'll do my best to do my duty to God and my country and to obey the Scout law, to help other people at all times, to keep myself physically strong, mentally awake, and morally straight. Please join us in Scout law. As a trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent. 2. Color guard post the colors. Color guard return to range. Ranks. Audience, please be seen.
Come forward here, and I'll sell you some patches. You got a quarter? Okay. It's a long walk, guys. There you go. I like the cap. You got one already? No. Okay. You sure? Yeah, okay. Okay. All right. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Nice tie.
Thank you.
You're welcome so much. I like the color cap.
Thank you.
So we'll go out there in deer hunting season. Here you go. We're running on skinny here, Brian. And that's it. Motion is in order for approval of the minutes of the February 26th board meeting?
So moved.
Second. Moved and second with the clerk.
Oh, yeah, do we need to take the roll?
Yes.
Yeah, we need to
We
take the
did,
roll.
we did,
Yes, we did.
did.
We did.
we did.
Okay.
A motion is in order on the approval of the expenditures.
So move to approve
we
the
didn't vote on the
expenditures as
minutes yet.
presented.
We can
We
do
got a
that.
motion now, here we go. Trustee Kozak.
Trustee Kodak made the motion to approve the minutes,
I did.
Second.
and seconded by Trustee Dunham.
Will the clerk please poll the board?
Trustee Conley? Aye. Trustee Kozak?
Aye.
Trustee Sullivan?
Aye.
Trustee Dunham?
Aye.
Trustee Madey?
Aye.
Trustee Daly?
Aye.
Trustee Dunham?
6 ayes, votes no nays, motion carries.
Somewhere you got it.
Request for class 1, class for 2, class A, and 1 class C liquor license for the Hyatt Regency Schaumburg, located at 180 Gulf
No,
Road.
I'm sorry, we only took one vote right now.
Yes.
So the roll call vote applies to the minutes.
Yes,
We
correct.
need another motion to approve the expenditures.
So
Okay.
moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Would the clerk please poll the board?
Trustee Daly?
Aye.
Trustee Madey?
Aye.
Trustee Dunham?
Aye.
Trustee Sullivan?
Aye.
Trustee Conley? Aye. Trustee Kozak?
Aye.
6 ayes, votes no nays, motion carries. Now, liquor license request. Request from Mr. Joshua Canona? Cameron?
Cannon.
Cannon, as in shoot, right?
Yes.
Chairman for 2 Class A and 1 Class, is it 2?
C2.
B2?
C2.
For Hyatt Regency located at, on Gulf Road, new owners? Someone here from the Hyatt Regency? Is that someone looking for a vowel? No? What are your plans at that location?
Good evening. My name is Tom Lowe, one of the principals of Woodfield Hospitality LLC. It is the current owner, has been the owner of the Hyatt since September of 15. The request tonight is required because we are changing management companies to simply operate the hotel and manage the hotel as it is managed today. It's just switching management companies.
What's your timeline?
Upon approval of the liquor license, it would be immediate.
Questions, concerns from the board? You want to pick up the necessary paperwork from the Liquor Commissioner's office to be a background check by the police department? Evidence of a positive response on that, then a license will be issued, Nate.
Thank you.
And you have to pay the fee, of course.
Of course.
All right, thank you. Request from Mr. Bowen, Canoe, for a Class K liquor license for Fresh International Market located on East Higgins Road, new licensing. Is this a new concept for international?
Good evening, this is Bowen. I'm the owner of the business.
Can you give us some information about what you're planning for that location?
We are planning to have liquor license to do retail on some beer and wine.
Questions from the board?
Yes.
Trustee Dunham?
We are shooting for soft opening by the end of this month and the grand opening like 7 to 10 days afterward.
I live in the neighborhood and I've been
Yeah.
asked.
I know.
Thank you.
Further questions from the board?
And,
Trustee Conley?
I know it's going to be a grocery store, so are you going to have all imported packaged goods, or are you going to have meats and produce and a full-line grocery store?
We are a full line grocery store. We have vegetable, fruits, meat, seafood, dry goods, beer and wine, cosmetic, also dry goods. So we have 60% imported food, but we all have distributor in the U.S., so we don't import directly.
Right. I know people are very anxious, and so it's going to be
I'm
interesting
looking forward that too.
It will be fun to see your selection
I will
and use your
invite
store.
all of you to the grand opening once we have a firm date.
Yeah.
Further questions, comments from the board? You want to pick up the necessary paperwork from the Liquor Commissioner's office, be a background check by the police department, positive response on that, as well as payment of the appropriate fee. A license will be issued. Thank you.
Thank you.
Request from Mr. Esteban and Ms. Joy Aguedo for Class A liquor license for Mia's Cantina, formerly El Mason, located at 34 West Schaumburg Road. New owners?
Yes, we're under negotiations with the landlord right now to, for that spot.
Questions from the board? Comments from the board? Well,
I guess I'll have a question on this one too, because that was my favorite Mexican restaurant. What type of Mexican cuisine do you do? Do you do Tex-Mex, California? What would you say your
We do
food is?
authentic Mexican. It's a little bit more upscale because we use all fresh ingredients, never frozen. We have deliveries fresh every day. We're currently in downtown Mount Prospect and downtown Downers Grove and doing really well there, so.
Okay, thank you, good luck.
When do you plan to open?
We're hoping, May 5th, by May 5th.
That's great.
Great. Fine, you want to pick up necessary paperwork from the Liquor Commissioner's office, be a background check by the police department, as well as response of the payment of the appropriate fee, and a license will be issued.
Thank you.
Welcome back to Schaumburg. And that's all I have for that, but we have the clerk here who is going to explain everything she knows about the consent agenda.
The consent agenda, number 1, correspondence. The motion would be to approve the request from Friends of Schaumburg to hold a raffle on March 23rd, 2019 at Checkers Pancake House, 506 West Wise Road, and to waive the fidelity bond requirement. 2, proclamations. Certified Government Financial Manager Month, March 2019. 3, Engineering and Public Works Committee. The motion would be to direct staff to finalize changes to single-family private sanitary sewer inspection and blockage practices. 4, Finance, Legal, Administrative, and General Government. The motion would be to accept the Finance Department monthly report for December 2018. B, the motion would be to adopt an ordinance amending Chapter 41, Section 41.01 of the Village Fee Schedule. B, community development fees and permits, engineering fees. C, the motion would be to approve a resolution authorizing the village manager to execute a contract amendment for the Merz & Anderson real estate contract. D, the motion would be to approve a resolution authorizing the village manager to execute an amendment to extend the listing agreement contract with Entry Commercial of Arlington Heights, Illinois, for the brokerage of the Merz & Anderson property. E, the motion would be to approve a resolution authorizing the village manager to execute a contract with Lee and Associates of Rosemont, Illinois, for the brokering of the 40 South Roselle Road and the 35 East Schaumburg Road sites. E, the recommendation would be to adopt a Schaumburg legislative action program that addresses the priorities of the Village of Schaumburg for 2019. 5, Plan Commission. The motion would be to approve a side yard setback variation for 106 Lingle Drive. B, the motion would be to approve the 2018 Community Development Block Grant Action Plan Amendment. 6, Zoning Board of Appeals. The motion would be to approve a site plan approval, new construction, special use for Type C restaurant, Panera, special use for a drive-through facility, parking setback variation, landscape variation, lot size variation, lot width variation, parking variation, and Woodfield Regional Center design review for the Meet Me on Meacham Center, 830 North Meacham Road. 7, Old Schaumburg Center. The motion would be to approve an architectural approval for the Fat Restaurant, 17 South Roselle Road. B, the motion would be to approve a sign variation for Fat Restaurant, 17 South Roselle Road. 8, award of bid. The motion would be to award the bid for turf and parkway restoration to the lowest responsible bidder, T&T Landscape Construction of Elgin, Illinois, beginning on March 13th, 2019, for a term of 1 year with 3 optional 1-year extensions not to exceed the approved budget. B, the motion would be to award the bid for landscape plant material installation to the lowest responsible bidder, T&T Landscape Construction of Elgin, Illinois, beginning on March 13th, 2019, for a term of 1 year with 3 optional 1-year extensions not to exceed the approved budget. 9, resolutions. The motion would be to adopt as Resolution R-19-010, authorizing First Amendment to real estate contract for 55 acres of land located at Rodenberg Road and Irving Park Road. B, the motion would be to adopt as Resolution R-19-011, approving an amendment to the real estate listing agreement for Merzen Anderson property. C, the motion would be to adopt as Resolution R-19-012, approving a real estate listing agreement for 40 South Roselle Road and 35 East Schaumburg Road. 10, ordinances. The motion would be to waive first reading and adopt as Ordinance 19-018, granting an architectural approval for Fat Restaurant, 17 South Roselle Road. D, the motion would be to waive first reading and adopt as Ordinance 19-019, granting a sign variation for Fat Restaurant, 17 South Roselle Road. C, the motion would be to waive first reading and adopt as Ordinance 19-020, granting a side yard setback variation 106 Lingle Drive. D, the motion would be to waive first reading and adopt as Ordinance 19-021, granting a site plan approval, new construction, special use for Type C restaurant, Panera, special use for a drive-through facility, parking setback variation, landscape variations, lot size variation, lot width variation, parking variation, and Woodfield Regional Center design review for Meet Me on Meacham Center, 830 North Meacham Road. E, the motion would be to waive first reading and adopt as Ordinance 19-022. Excuse me. Amending Chapter 41, Section 41.01 of the fee schedule, B, community development fees and permits, engineering fees. This concludes the consent agenda.
A motion on the consent agenda is in order.
Move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Moved and second to approve the consent agenda as presented. Would the clerk please poll the board?
Trustee Daly.
Aye.
Trustee Madej.
Aye.
Trustee Dunn.
Aye.
Trustee Sullivan.
Aye.
Trustee Conley.
Aye.
Trustee Kozak.
Aye.
6 ayes, votes no nays, motion carries. Committee reports. Any committee reports to come before the board? Comments from the audience? A chance to talk to the board on matters pertinent to the Village of Schaumburg, or not? Council report.
No, there's a minute.
No report tonight, Mayor, other than we have no need for an executive session this evening.
So noted. President's report, I have nothing to report. Manager's report?
I just have one quick item I want to mention, and several of you were at the Good Morning Schaumburg presentation this morning that was put on by the Schaumburg Business Association, where Mr. Mario Tricosi came and talked about the development of his business, and I thought it was a very inspirational talk, and he had some great advice for people in all aspects of the business world. But one of the things that I thought was most important and most pertinent to the Village of Schaumburg is he talked about what an important role Schaumburg played in establishing, his very successful business. And he mentioned specifically the help that he received from the village, including Mayor Larson and some of the staff in the Community Development Department when he was moving his location out of Woodfield Mall over to Mall Drive. And I think that's just one example of a lot of the great work that staff does that a lot of times goes unnoticed or unheralded. So I thought it was very nice that he took the time to commend the village for the role that we played in helping to build his business into the institution it is today.
Well spoken. New business to come before the board? Any unfinished business? Trustee comments, mentions?
Mr. Mayor?
Trustee Sullivan.
Yeah, over the weekend, particularly on Sunday, the residents of the village of Schaumburg were robocalled by, it was called Apple Support, but I believe it was a phishing. My question that I would have for Mr. Townsend, is there any way we can register a complaint with the FCC?
I don't know if we can as a village. We can certainly look into it and see what we can do. I know in the past, we've been very active in terms of, promoting to residents that they should be careful with those types of calls. And I know Pat Riley has mentioned a couple of times that he's been victimized, so to speak, by those calls, and that people should be cautious. But I think in response, we can research what action the village can take, and we can certainly do another round of PR to the community to make them aware of how they should handle
at
those
least
calls.
I had 9 messages from them that we had, and we answered a
Cell
couple.
phone, too. It was
Yeah.
cell phone calls they seemed.
Yeah, and they
That's
just,
an extraordinary number that people were reporting this weekend.
yes. I mean, there's a whole thread on everything Schaumburg about that, and, I mean, I think the least we can do is contact somebody and start looking at what we can do, perhaps the IML, too.
One thing that could be done is the village could act as a conduit for people who received calls and then pass them along, rather than tell people they need to figure out how to file something with the FCC directly. So we could do that.
I have 2 friends that are in Florida that have cell phone numbers that look like they're in Schaumburg, who received calls like that for the last 3 days down there as well. So it's, they're targeting cell phones in particular. It's a little unusual, but the numbers are really extraordinary.
I mean, the IRS finally stopped calling, so now it's Apple Tech.
Did you get the job, Jack?
No, not yet.
Trustee Dunham.
One of the problems with those calls is they have computers that will dial sequentially. And even if your number is blocked for incoming calls and so forth, the sequential dialing doesn't really take that into consideration, and it'll dial a certain number and then add one and add one and add one, and they'll keep going until until their program runs
Until you
out.
come across Jack's number.
You don't really have any control over
I mean, Sunday was it was just incredible. It was like every 45 minutes, half hour, 45 minutes, the phone would ring and it'd be Apple, Amazon,
Well, and
Over
that's
and
to the
over.
level of harassment. When you call somebody 7 to 10 times in a day, if I pick up my phone and dial you 10 times in a day, that's harassment. So this one's a little bit unusual, so we probably should look a little further.
Another thing you can do if you have AT&T service is as soon as the call is completed and you hang up, you pick up the phone, you go *61, and it will block that same incoming number will be blocked.
If they're spoofing it.
Problem is they keep changing the number.
Anything further? Trustee comments, submissions?
I have something, Mayor.
Trustee Conley.
I wanted to remind everybody that the second major fundraiser for the Prairie Arts Foundation is coming up on April the 6th. It's Spirit of the Prairie. We have the Wine Cellar Outlet, which is a very nice wine store on Algonquin here in Schaumburg, who is the major sponsor this year. And they have both U.S. and European, South American wines. We'll also be having, I think we're up to about 5 distilleries and breweries, local northwest suburban ones. We have 5 of our nicer restaurants in town that will be doing hors d'oeuvres. Tickets are available online at the Prairie Center Foundation website. I believe it's $35. It's a very nice event, and it's a nice event because you don't have to have tickets that you fool with and parcel out and have to go buy 2 more tickets because you want that one last hors d'oeuvre. So it's a very nice event that will be taking place all over the building at the Prairie Center on April the 6th.
Further trustee comments, mentions? Motion to adjourn is in order.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, folks.